Shalom, shalom. This is Brother Aharon, soldier for Son of Thunder. Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shabrakadam. The Most High put it on my spirit to bring out a video with a couple of precepts. I was talking to a brother last week, and he wanted to get into the months of the year and how he can explain to his mother that we're coming into a new year, and the new year is not actually January, but it starts in spring. So I hope this is edifying. I got the majority of the months of the year. There's a couple that I really couldn't find, the 4th and 5th month, but we're gonna get right into it. All right, the first month is called Abib, A-B-I-B, A-B-I-B, Abib. If you get into the Hebrew of the word Abib, the description is fresh, young barley, ears, month of ear forming or greening of crops, of growing green, Abib month, of Exodus and Passover, March or April. You further get into the grammar, it's from an unused root meaning to be tender, green. An example, a young ear of grain, hence the name of the month, Abib. Abib, ear, green, ears of corn. So we talking about crops being grown. We talking about springtime. This is the month of Abib. This is the beginning of our year. Okay, let's get into some precepts to show where we can find that at. I want to first start off in the book of Exodus. I think I want to go into 13 and 3. Start off with 13 and 3. And Moses said unto the people, remember this day in which ye came out from Egypt, out of the house of bondage. For by strength of hand the Most High brought you out from this place. There shall no leavened bread be eaten. Verse 4. This day came ye out in the month of Abib. In the month Abib. So it's just to show that when we go into Passover, when we start getting into all of that, this is the first month of the year. And that first month of the year is Abib. Exodus 12 and 2. Let's see what that says. The book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 2. This month shall be unto you the beginning of the months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. So we getting into how Passover was initiated, was instituted, I should say, by the Most High to Aaron and to Moses. And this is what he told them, that this is the first month of the year. And this should be Abib, should be the first month of the year. Book of Exodus 23 and 15 says, let's get to it, 23 and 15. And there's also a Passover observance. Maybe I should start at 14. 3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in a year. Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded thee in the time appointed of the month Abib. For in it thou camest out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. So this is just another precept to show that Passover, right after Passover is the month of Abib. Slaki, right before Passover is the month of Abib. This is the beginning of the new year. This is when we came out of Egypt. The Most High told us to do this. Most High gave us this as the beginning of our years. Man tells us it's different. It's in January. That's not how it should be. We should rather listen to the Most High rather than man, right? The book of Exodus, chapter 34, verse 18. Let's go to that. Book of Exodus 34 and 18 says, the feast of unleavened bread shalt thou keep. 7 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, as I commanded thee, in the time of the month Abib. For in the month Abib thou camest out from Egypt. Another precept showing that in the month of Abib we came out of Egypt. And the month of Abib was the first month of the year. The month of Abib is our New Year's. So we're gonna move on to the second month. So the second month of the year is called Ziph, Z-I-F, Ziph. And you can find that in the book of 1 Kings, chapter 6, verse 1. The book of 1 Kings, chapter 6, verse 1. And it reads, "And it came to pass in the 480th year of the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month Ziph, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of the Most High." So this is Solomon building the temple. And he began to build the temple in the 2nd month of the year, which is the month of Ziph, according to 1 Kings chapter 6, verse 1. So we're going to go to the 3rd month. We can find the 3rd month of the year in the book of Esther. Find the 3rd month of the year in the book of Esther, chapter 8, verse 9. And it's called Sivan. Sivan. It's like in the book of Esther, chapter 8, verse 9. "Then were the king's scribe called at that time in the 3rd month, that is the month Sivan." So the king's scribes were called on the 3rd month, is the month called Sivan. That's the 3rd month of the year, according to the scripture, the book of Esther, chapter 8, verse 9. Now, like I said earlier, the 4th and 5th month are months where I can't find them actually names in the Bible. Brothers can find it, please inform me, let me know. I haven't been able to find it in the Apocrypha or the Bible in the 4th or 5th month. But the 6th month is called Elul, E-L-U-L. E-L-U-L, and you find that in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 6 and verse 15. "So the wall was finished in the 25th day of the month Elul, and 52 days. So this is the, according to my understanding, this is the 5th month. Slaki, this is the 6th month. Elul. Let's go to the 7th month. Ethanim. E-T-H-A-N-I-M. The 7th month. You can find that in 1 Kings 8 and 2. The book of 1 Kings, chapter 8, verse 2. "And all the men of Israel assembled themselves unto King Solomon at the feast of the month Ethanim, which is the 7th month." So, like it says, Ethanim is the 7th month. Shlaki, let's go to the 8th month. 8th month is called Bull, B-U-L, Bull. And you also find that in 1 Kings, chapter 6, verse 38. Chapter 6, 1 Kings, chapter 6, verse 38. "And in the 11th year, in the month Bull, which is the 8th month, was the house finished throughout all the parts thereof, and according to all the fashion of it. So was he 7 years in building it." So this is the temple being built. It started off in Ziph, and the house was built in Bull, which is, according to the scripture, the 8th month. So, but it took 7 years to build it. The 9th month is called Chisleu, C-H-I-S-L-E-U, Chisleu. You can find that in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 1, verse 1. "In the words of Nehemiah, the son of Hakaliah, and it came to pass in the month Chisleu, in the 20th year, as I was in Shushan, the palace." So this is just a reference of the name. But if you get into Zechariah 7 and 1, the book of Zechariah, the book of Zechariah 7 and 1, "And it came to pass in the 4th year of King Darius, that the word of the Lord came unto Zechariah and the 4th day of the 9th month, even in Chisleyu. So the 9th month is Chisleyu. In the 10th month is called Tebeth. Tebeth. Now you can find that also in the book of Esther. You can find that in the book of Esther, chapter 2, verse 16. So Esther was taken unto King Ahasuerus into his house royal in the 10th month, which is the month Tebeth, Tebeth, and the 7th year of his reign. So according to scripture, the 10th month is called Tebeth. So we're going to get into the 11th month. It's called Sabbat, Sebat, Sabbat. And you find that also in Zechariah 1 and 7. And it reads in the book of Zechariah, chapter 1, verse 7, upon the 24th day of the 11th month, which is the month Sabbat, in the 2nd year of Darius, came the word of the Most High unto Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, the son of Iddo, the prophet, saying. So we're just going to get into what the month is. It's the 11th month, and that's the month of Sabbat. So we are actually right now currently in the 12th month of the year. In the 12th month of the year is called Adar, Adar, Adar. So in this time period, you can find Adar in Esther 8 and 12. Let's go there and read what it says. The book of Esther, chapter 8, verse 12. Upon one day in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, namely upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar. So the 12th month, the month that we are in right now, is called the month of Adar. We could also find it in Esther 9 and 1. And if you get into the chapter 9, as you know, we're about to do Purim. This is where you find Purim, right here in the book of Esther, chapter 9. You could probably start off in verse 18, or start off before that, read the whole chapter, or even the chapter before, to get the understanding of why we're doing Purim. But yeah, the Purim is supposed to be done in the month of Adar. So let's go on to 9 and 1. The book of Esther 9, chapter 9, verse 1. Now in the 12th month, that is the month Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near, to put in execution in the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had rule over them that hated them. So we're just going to deal with the month right now. Adar is the 12th month of the year. And if you keep reading down, you start getting into what Purim is all about. The Feast of Purim is all about. If you go into the editions of Esther and the Apocrypha, this is Esther chapter 10, verse 13. It says, therefore those days shall be unto them in the month Adar, the 14th and 15th day of the same month, with an assembly in joy and with gladness before God, according to the generations, forever amongst his people. So this is the celebration of Purim, and the 14th and 15th day of Adar, the 12th month of the year, is how we're supposed to celebrate throughout our generations among the Most High's people. So these are the 12 months that I can, these are most of the 12 months that I can find in the Bible. Like I said, I had a hard time finding 4th and 5th month. But at the same point in time, we know that the new year is in springtime. We know that the beginning of the year is Abib, is what we're coming into. And that's where we do Passover. I wanted to read something to you guys. This is an article coming. It's called Two Faces of New Year's. So I want to read a couple of the lines in this article. It says when Roman Emperor Julius Caesar declared January 1st as the world's New Year's Day based on a duplicitous deity, the connection could not have been more apropos. Specifically, the god he worshipped was two-faced, a fitting metaphor of the flip-flopping that marked the New Year's Day through the centuries. Caesar's idol was called Janus, from which we get our month January. The emperor thought his deity would be the suitable portal to the new year. As one of his faces looked forward to a new year, the other looked backwards. That's the sanitized version of the New Year's. The messy and convoluted history of January 1st, New Year's observance, reveals chronological confusion amid political intrigue, race hatred, and fuzzy math, all in an attempt to improve upon the biblical calendar as inspired by our Creator. That's a really deep statement. All of these things they do is to try to convolute our minds and change the laws, change what the Most High told us to do. That's what they want to do. They don't want us to follow the Most High's laws. They want us to stop from that and do what they want us to do. They want us to follow man's words rather than the Most High's words. But we're not going to do that. We're going to move forward into following the Most High in all things. Let me keep reading. January 1st, New Year, is an on and off tradition, surprisingly. January 1st has been celebrated as a holiday by Western nations for only about the past 400 years. It's really kind of new. 400 years is not that long of a time. The earliest record of a New Year celebration is believed to have been in Mesopotamia in 2000 BCE, and was celebrated around the time of the vernal equinox in mid-March. So even they did their New Year's around the springtime, around March, because that's when the Bib does end of March into April. They were a lot closer back then. A variety of other dates tied to the seasons were also used by various ancient cultures. The Egyptians, Phoenicians, Persians began their new year with fall equinox, and the Greeks celebrated it in the winter solstice, all going off from what the Most High said. An early Roman calendar designated March 1st as the new year. The calendar had just 10 months, beginning with March. That is why the name September means 7 in Latin, but it's actually the 9th month. October means 8, but it's actually the 10th month. November means 9, but is the 11th month. December means 10th, but is the 12th month of the secular year. The first time the New Year was celebrated on January 1st in Rome was in 153 BCE. In fact, the month of January did not even exist until around 700 BCE, when the second king of Rome, Numa Pontilius, added the months of January and February. February was the end of the year, making the new year a spring event. The new year was moved from March to January because that was the beginning of civil year, the month that the two newly elected Roman consuls, the highest officials in the Roman Republic, began their one-year tenure. But this new year date was not always strictly and widely observed, and the new year was still sometimes celebrated on March. So I bring this out just to say that, man, our enemies has changed our dates, has changed our times, has changed our cultures and our history. They have stolen it, they have diluted it and polluted it. They do everything in their power to change who we are and what we believe in. Change the laws of the Most High. And we got to move forward, man. We got to come together as a nation, and we got to believe as the scripture has says. We can't, ain't no more time to be playing, and when we know the truth, we know that we shouldn't be doing Christmas. We know that we shouldn't be doing Thanksgiving. Let's stop. You know what I'm saying? Let's really obey these laws, statutes, commandments. The Most High has given us high holy days, feast days, new moons. Let's celebrate those days. Let's thank the Most High, the Wada Yahweh, for giving us the ability to worship and to praise the Most High and to have a good time. You know, I just wanted to bring this out. I hope it was edifying. These are some of the months that I figured out where you can find them and how, and just to show you brothers and sisters that the new year is in the spring, is in the month of Abib. And that's how it's supposed to be. That's how we're going to celebrate it moving forward. The Wada Yahweh. This is Brother Haran, soldier from Sons of Thunder. Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Brakatham. Shalom, Akiyam, and Aqua.